We got the current optimal defensive roster for NFL 2K Playmakers. We're going to go through each one of these positions, why each of these players are best for this position. We're going to talk about alternate options, how play styles and plays affect these decisions. And if you're not Sapphire tier and don't have all of these Sapphires, I'm going to let you know which play styles are best for each of these positions. There is certainly a lot to go over and a lot to digest, but before we get into it, this is also contingent on you knowing the plays and calling the right plays. And if you haven't seen that video, I did make a defensive guide video on how to know 100% of the time which play they are calling. Go in the description. Check that video out first. If you're new to the channel, I certainly recommend going in the description and find the 2K Playmakers playlist. That way you could check out all of the other guides that we have. But anyways, let's jump into it. Talk about this overall best optimal defensive roster. And this is what it looks like currently in the game. Now, of course, when the next tier comes, this is obviously going to change. But if you have the best cards in the game, the best Sapphires, I believe this is going to be your best optimal roster to utilize the play styles to get those bonuses when you're calling the correct defensive play. Now, like I said, we'll be going over each individual position. I'm going to tell you which player is the best if you have all of the cards in the game. But if you don't have all of the Sapphires, I'll still tell you which play styles certainly work best in each position. If you're interested in checking out the actual spreadsheet, the actual data, all members on YouTube do get access to this spreadsheet. So if you're interested in becoming a member, go click the join button or go in the description and find the link. So real quick, let's talk about how I actually did this before we jump into the actual reasoning behind why we pick each of the players. We analyzed all 88 plays in the game, exact same way we did the play styles video. And every single play has a pass option and a run option. Now we're only going to be analyzing the pass option and the run option. And more specifically, we're only going to be analyzing the correct option. So for this particular play, this is a pass play. And so we're only going to be taking the data from the pass formation. There's no reason to take the data from the run, because if you saw the Playmaker or the plays video, you'll know what play to choose. And you'll know that it's a pass play when you see this formation, and so you're gonna pick pass. I also excluded the two blitz formations, and the reason why that is because more often than not, you actually don't get the correct formation in blitz, and I didn't want it to skew the data. So we only analyzed the correct formation. We took the players that are gonna be in this formation and put that on a spreadsheet. Let's go. Let's start defensive lineman number 1. And the best optimal position for this is going to be Chris Jones. Now, this is also excluding all special cards and all pay to win cards. There are 3 of those Sapphires in the game right now. So we're not even going to talk about those. We're just going to talk about pullable cards on the board. So for defensive lineman 1, we're going to be talking about Chris Jones. So now, why is Chris Jones the best for defensive line 1? Well, 1, he is the actual best defensive lineman in Sapphire tier, excluding the Myles Garrett, excluding the special edition card. And for 2, he has 10 out of the 88 plays that involve his power play style, which is the most in the game. So out of all of the play styles and all of the plays in the game, 10 out of 88, which is still a pretty low percentage out of all the plays in the game, 10 out of the 88 plays involve defensive line 1 power. And so we're wanting to put a power guy in the defensive lineman 1. And it just so happens Chris Jones is the best card. So that's what we're going to put in there. Now, for an alternate option and a second play style that you might want to consider, Captain came in second for defensive line 1 with 6 total plays. but there is no captain play style in Sapphire tier, and I don't think that there's very many defensive linemen in general in the game that are even in defensive linemen. So you definitely probably want to stick with power only for defensive line 1. For DL2, we're going to go with the star play style and Eric Armstead as the best option for defensive lineman 2. And for that star play style, it was tied for the most play styles in DL2 position, along with hands. Hands and star came with 6 total plays in defensive lineman 2, but as you see, there are no hands play styles. So if you do have a hands, that is certainly an option in emerald or gold or even silver if you are lower tiered or just starting out. But as far as the star goes, it also has 6. And the difference between the second best defensive lineman and Eric Armstead is not much. It's only 46 total points. Power only had 4 total plays in defensive line 2. Star has 6. So being that it's 2 more plays and the difference isn't that much, I think Eric Armstead is a better option. And to finish off the D line, we're going to go with defensive lineman 3 as DeMarcus Lawrence is going to be the best option. He is of the power play style, but there's certainly going to be lots of choices for this particular position. I'll tell you why. Now, the play style that came in as the most plays for defensive lineman 3 was Playmaker, with 6 total plays at defensive line 3. And as you see, well, there are no playmakers. Second option was Sniper. Sniper came in second with 4 total plays at defensive line 3. And, well, there's no Sniper play style. And then after that, there were 3 play styles that came in third, which with only 2 plays in this play style, and that is going to be the power play style. And DeMarcus Lawrence is the second best defensive lineman. He is power. He is our best available option for defensive line 3 if you have all of the best cards in the game. But like I said, if you don't, or if you're middle tier, if you're still emerald or maybe even gold tier, the best options for D-line 3 are going to be Playmaker with 6, Sniper with 4, and then 3 others with only 2. Now moving on over to linebacker. At linebacker 1, the very first spot, the best available option is going to be Eric Kendricks with the hands playstyle. And the hands playstyle did come in as the best available option for linebacker 1 with 5 total plays using the hands playstyle. Second option was Playmaker with 4. So being that hands does have the most in linebacker 1, you're going to want to pick the best hands possible. You're not going to want to put in Joey Bosa because even though he is a couple points better, there is a different available spot that will be better for him instead. Since hands has the most plays, Eric Kendricks is the second best linebacker. Perfect spot to put him in. Now for linebacker 2, we're going to go with Shaq Thompson with the power play style. And now the power play style did come in with the most plays in this position. Again, much like defensive lineman 2, the power play style does have the most plays in the game at 13 out of the 88. And it does seem like more players are of the power play style, so it's kind of good as well. But 5 plays for linebacker 2 was for power. There was also Hart came in second in this particular position at, again, 5 total plays. So if you don't have a really good power play style, then the second best option is going to be Hart. Now, again, we don't have any Hart in Sapphire. Shaq Thompson is the third best linebacker. He is of the power play style. So again, perfect option to put him in. And then finally for linebacker 3, we're going to go with Joey Bosa, which is the best linebacker in the game right now, or currently in Sapphire tier. And he is of the star play style. And the star play style did come in with the most plays in a play style at linebacker 3 with 4 total. Tied with that was going to be the Lightning play style, which again, there are no Lightning play styles in the Sapphire tier. But it doesn't matter because Joey Bosa is the best linebacker in Sapphire tier, and he is of the star playstyle. So linebacker 3 is going to where you want to put Joey Bosa. Another thing to also mention is that the power playstyle again came in tied with 4 as well. So star, lightning, and power all came in with 4 total plays. And so any of those will work if you're in any other tiers, or if you don't have Joey Bosa, you could use another power play style like this Shaq Thompson, which is good for linebacker 2 or linebacker 3 if you have multiple ones, because there's lots of power in Sapphire tier. And then finally, we got the defensive backs, DB1. We're going to go with Jamal Dean with the Playmaker playstyle. Now for DB1, Lightning actually had the most plays, but unfortunately there are no Lightning Sapphires, and Lightning is actually pretty much the best playstyle for defensive backs, but you know, there are no Lightning playstyles. So if you are on those lower tiered emeralds or golds and you have a defensive back that's lightning, certainly a pretty good option for DB1 because it has the most plays. But second most is going to be Playmaker. And so that's why we went with Jamal Green. Now, Darius Slay is pretty close at the 4th best defensive back, so you could put him in there as well. I think I actually had Darius Slay in there originally, but Jamal Green would be better. Another option is Hart. Hart came in 3rd with only 3 plays, very few plays, but there is a Hart player that is a little better. So Trayvon Diggs, certainly an option if you want to use it. Now for DB2, we're going to go with Jair Alexander with the power playstyle. Now for the most used playstyles in this particular position, star and hands came in first with 5 total plays using DB2. Now, there are no stars that are any decent options. You have 1 star down here, but he is pretty low. But we do have a hands option right here, Budda Baker. But the difference between these two is over 200 points. Now, even though that they have 5 total plays, the second most, there were 4 play styles that came in second with 4 total plays: Lightning, Playmaker, Sniper, and Power. And so power is only 1 play behind at least being used in DB2. So that's why we went with Alexander. He's 200 points better. He is the best defensive back in the game. And he has, you know, just 1 less play. So I think it's certainly worth it to put him in there. And then finally, the very last defensive back position, we're going to go with Trayvon Diggs. I actually changed my mind in the middle of making this video, and I think it would be better to use him at this particular position. He has the Hart playstyle. Now, as far as the best playstyles for this particular position, it is going to be Lightning. Again, like I said, Lightning is the best playstyle for defensive backs, and this came in at 7 total plays, which is the second most in the game. The most widely used playstyle in a particular position was defensive lineman 1 with power at 10 total plays. This one is second at DB3. The Lightning is going to have 7 total plays, but again, same problem. We have no Lightning playstyle for the Sapphire tier. So if you're lower tiered, certainly the best one to go for this one by far is going to be Lightning on DB3. But then the second most, there were 2 playstyles that were tied, and that's going to be Sniper and Star. So Matt Thau and Pryor both going to be okay options at 4 total plays. But then at 3rd, we have the Hart playstyle with 3, and that is why we went with Diggs. There's not a huge difference, but to me, it's close to 100, and to me, I thought that was a little bit at least worth it. If you're not going to be getting the plays, you might as well have a better player. Sniper has 4 total plays, Heart has 3. That's just one more. And so you're kind of going to figure that, well, I'd just rather have a better player in there with a decent amount of plays. So that's why we went with Diggs with DB3. A couple other things to note and a couple other interesting facts. The most used position on defense in the entire game is defensive lineman 2. Out of the 88 total plays in the game, defensive lineman 2 was in 31 of them, which is the most on defense. The least amount of plays in a particular position is going to be defensive lineman 3 at only 17 out of the 88 plays. So that kind of gives you an idea of where to prioritize your best players if you can't necessarily fall into using a particular play style that we talked about in today's video. Now, as far as a linebacker goes, the linebackers as a whole position is less amount of plays than both defensive line and cornerback. So they did use the linebacker more or less frequently in the plays than any other position. But the most used in the linebacker was going to be linebacker 2, again, at 24 total plays. And linebacker 1 was the least used at 21. So it was a little bit more balanced in terms of play usage or player usage. And then as far as the defensive backs go, DB2, again, was the most used position at 29. That is the second most in all of the defense. So the most used position is D-line 2. The second most used position is DB3. And then the same thing, the least used position in the cornerback or in the defensive back is going to be DB1. Only 19 total plays out of the 88. And that is the second lowest in the game. So DB1 was not used very often. 19 total plays. DB2 was used the most, 29 total plays. Now, I mentioned before in the Playstyles video that Sapphire plays do repeat. Not every single one of them repeat, but there are a lot of Sapphire plays that are the same exact play in the gold tier. It's weird how they did it. It like skipped a tier. So a lot of sapphires and a lot of golds are the same. A lot of emeralds and a lot of silvers are the same. So this particular, strategy or these particular stats and stuff like that can apply to almost everybody, just for the simple fact that a lot of the sapphire plays are already gold plays. It's just different tiers. They use the same players. It's the same play. It's the same play style. It is exactly the same. The only difference is the actual tier itself. But hopefully this video helped you, maybe kind of let you know which positions are best in each of, or which play styles are best in every particular position. And like I said, we will be doing the same similar thing with the offense as well. And if you're interested in getting your hands or viewing the actual spreadsheet, like I said, it is available to any member. And if you want to join and support this or support the channel through membership, you can go click the join button or the link as well. But either way, hopefully you did enjoy and hopefully this helped you get your roster straight. I will see y'all next time. Y'all take it easy. We're out. Peace.